exploring the work of a contemporary painter and printmaker. I'm Jill Horner. This is Comcast Newsmakers. With me is Scott Schweigert. He's Curator of Art and Civilization for the Reading Public Museum. Thanks so much for being with us.
Sure, thanks, Jill.
We're talking all about the work of Jim Dine, but explain to us a little bit about his work. He's still working today, but many people think of him and his pop art from the 1960s.
Right, that's really when he rose to prominence as an artist in the 1960s. He was born in Cincinnati, Ohio, and his mother died when he was rather young, so he was raised by his grandparents who owned a hardware store. So a lot of his early work features tools and paintbrushes and things that sort of surrounded him as a child. And he, in the early 60s, developed this sort of personal iconography which involved images that he felt very strongly about.
Let's get into some of the things that we'll actually see as part of the collection that you have on display. The work that we're seeing right now is actually from the late 1980s, but this was actually inspired by ancient statues.
Right. Dine has been influenced by ancient art really throughout his career. He did lots of interpretations of Venus de Milo. Some of them are on the avenue of the Americas in New York City. But this particular set of prints came from his experience visiting the Munich Glyptotek, or their Museum of Ancient Statuary, and his response to engaging with those ancient works. And so he produced two portfolios. We have one complete portfolio and then portions of another that were recent gifts to the museum. And so those form the core of this section of the exhibition.
Now, when we think of Jim Dine, though, many people think of bright colors.
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about that, because we think of form, we think of color, we think of this self-imagery expressed within his work. Talk to us a little bit about what we'll see there. We have one image, it's of a robe, but you say this is also a form of self-expression.
Right, yeah. For him, he was quoted as saying that pop art is about the exterior, but I'm about the interior. Mm-hmm. So in a way, he was rejecting the category that he was placed in. But in a way, for Dine, these works are very personal. They're meaningful to him, and you can almost read self-portraiture in many of his works. So the robes, the hearts, and even Pinocchio, which was deeply influential in his life as a young boy. He saw the Disney film, and then he saw himself as he got older. He turned from the boy to Geppetto. So he wrapped himself into many of his works.
Now, this is actually running through June 24th, but there are a variety of different mediums used in this. He was a printer. He is a printmaker and painter, but some of these are actually wood as well? That's
right. He does wood block printing, jigsaw wood blocks, and he's really a draftsman at his heart. In the 1970s, he still continues to paint, but the focus of his work has really been printmaking, drawing, and sort of true to that part of his training.
Now, you say his pop was less sanitized, more personal than Andy Warhol's, but you're choosing to display these in conjunction with your Warhol exhibit.
Right. We thought it was a great opportunity to sort of give our audience two different views on pop. It's not a monolithic movement. It was involving a whole group of artists: Jasper Johns, Klaus Oldenburg, Robert Rauschenberg, and Andy Warhol, of course, and Jim Dine was part of that group in the early 1960s. So it was just giving our audience a more complete picture of the movement.
Of the movement, but this is an artist that continues to work in this vein today.
Right, he was born in 1935 and he's still very much working.
And some of these pieces, and we just have a few seconds left, are actually modern day pieces.
Right, some of them are just a few years old. I think the most recent work in the exhibition is from 2009, so yeah, he's amazing.
All right, thanks so much for being with us, and all of this runs through June 24th. We've been talking with Scott Schweigert. I'm Jill Horner.